I know a song by a traveller. The guy who wrote this, his name is Pecker Dunn. Now, in Ireland, your pecker is your nose. I should hasten to add here. And he travelled the country and off to I was around England as well. He was a banjo player, and he's from a long line of musicians. His parents and grandparents and great-grandparents. As I met up with him when I was about 17 or 18, and he introduced me to all kinds of interesting folk. There was a lot of country fairs in Ireland at the time, and he knew a lot of the entertainers. These were guys who would, one of them would bend 6-inch nails in his mouth, another guy would rip phone books in half, another fellow had a whip. He could crack the whip and pluck cigarettes out of people's mouths, and another guy would lay on a bed of glass, and he'd have somebody stand on his chest and hear the glass going crunch, and people get around my shoulders bareback. Sometimes he'd slip, the guy standing on him would slip and he'd cut himself, but other than that it worked out rather well. They were interesting. Another guy swallowed a cherry. It was disgusting. I won't go into that. But they were an interesting bunch, and through him and through those guys I got to meet some of the travelling people of Ireland who just don't mix with the settled community, and they're often held in great suspicion and great distaste by the majority of the settled community. Over the years, the travellers have settled down. Very, very few of them are still nomadic. Some of them are traders, and they travel around, buy stuff in the city, sell it in the countryside. In the old days, they used to buy in the cities, and the women would sell from baskets. They go door to door selling stuff that you can find in small supermarkets, which we didn't have at the time. So they would sell combs and clothes pegs and knitting needles and pins and religious pictures and rosary beads and whatever else they could move, barrettes for the hair and all this kind of coat hangers, whatever came to mind. And they would also display a pack of cards on their basket, and the woman in the house might say, "Do you tell fortunes?" She'd say, "I do, but I'm much better at the tea leaves," which would guarantee a cup of tea, and you can't have a cup of tea without a slice of bread, and so on. So they had a great way of inveigling their way into the household, and the husbands, meantime, would be down jobbing. They'd be either taking orders for churns. There wasn't a house in Ireland that didn't have tinware. They'd be making buckets or basins and so forth, or repairing these things, which brings me to the difference between a tinker's curse and a tinker's dam. A tinker's curse is something that's worthless. They would often curse people who declined to offer charity to them. And a tinker's dam was a special little device they had for allowing them to repair a hole in a bucket, and they'd make a little dam around it so that the solid wouldn't run through and give it a chance to harden. Here's a song called Sullivan's John that Pecker Dunn wrote. I visited him last May in his home in Calimer, which is on the banks of the Shannon, just where you get the ferry across from Limerick to Kerry. Calimer may be County Clare. And poor man, he's old now and he's got a tracheotomy and whispers away, but he's still got a commanding presence in the room. He was a great guy, and I'm very proud to have played with him. Here we go with one of his great songs called Sullivan's John, about a settled farmer's son who wanders off with a band of tinkers. Oh, Sullivan's John, to the road you gone, far away from your native home. You're gone with a tinker's daughter, for along the road to Rome. Sullivan's John, though you won't stick it long, till your belly will soon grow slack, as you roam the road with a mighty load and a toodle box on your back. I'm a